Now to find the limit by U-substitution method. This is my second procedure to find the limit of the function. Let me do some typical examples to find the limit of the function using U-substitution method. Example number 1. If I have limit of x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 minus 4 over 2x, where x approaches 0. If I do a direct substitution here, what's going to happen? Let me put directly x equals to 0 here because x approaches 0. After substituting x equals to 0, I will have 0 over 0, which is indeterminate form. Look, I have tried direct substitution here. I plugged in x equals to 0 here because x approaches 0. So 0 plus 64 is 64 to the 1/3. And 2 times 0 will be 0. So 64 to the 1/3 is 4. Can I write 64 equals to 4 to the 3? So when I write 4 to the 3, the power of 3 will cancel with the 3, and I will left only with the 4. So 4 minus 4 will be 0, and 2 times 0 will be 0. There I got indeterminate form 0 over 0. For that reason, I'm going to try U-substitution method here. Let's take help from U-substitution method. In U-substitution method, what I'm going to do here, I will pick this x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3. Let it equals to u. Let x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 equals to u. When I take cube on both the sides, I will get x plus 64 equals to u to the 3. Just take cube on both the sides, which implies that x equals to u to the 3 minus 64. And then look at here, x approaches 0, which means that if x equals to 0, because x approaches 0, then this term will be 0 plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 equals to u. Just substitute x equals to 0 here because x approaches 0. If x equals to 0, then x plus 64 will be 0 plus 64. This implies that u equals to 4. In U-substitution method, what we are doing, we do some random substitution here. This is my f of x, which is x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 minus 4 or 2x. X approaches 0. I take this section and let it equals to u. If I take this section only, and let this section equals to u, and then take cube on both the sides, so when I take cube here, I will get x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 to the 3. So 3 will cancel with the 3. I will only left with x plus 64. When I take cube here, just take cube on both the sides, you will get x plus 64 equals to u cube, which implies that x equals to u cube minus 64. Just push this 64 to the right side to become negative 64. Now again, when you look to your given expression, x approaches 0. It means that x equals to 0. So if x equals to 0, then x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 equals to u will be 0 plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 equals to u. If x equals to 0, just substitute x equals to 0 here. So I'll get 0 plus 64 instead of x plus 64. Now instead of 64, can I write 4 cube? 4 cube is also 64, so whether you write 64 or 4 cube, this is one thing. If I put 4 cube here, this cube 3 will cancel with the 3, and I will left only with the 4. This implies that u approaches 4. 4 equals to u, which means that u approaches 4. I'm going to put u approaches 4 instead of x approaches 0. When I do U-substitution method here, just do substitution here, you will get limit of u minus 4 over 2 into u cube minus 64, where u approaches 4. This whole part equals to u. X equals to u cube minus 64. And u approaches 4 when I did U-substitution technique. For this whole part, I put u, because I let x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 equals to u. So I will put u instead of this whole thing. Minus 4, and 2 into u cube minus 64, because x equals to u cube minus 64. So I will put u cube minus 64 for the x, and then u approaches 4, which I got at the end, u approaches 4, because 4 equals to u, which means that u approaches 4. So I'm going to put naive limit here, not x approaches 0. If you look to this part, u cube minus 64, it's a formula, u cube minus 4 cube. So I can write limit of u minus 4 or 2 into u minus 4 into u square plus 2u plus 4. Can I cancel u minus 4 in the numerator with u minus 4 in the denominator? Yes. Just cancel these two sections and then put u equals to 4 for the rest to have 1 over 2 into 4 square plus 2 into 4 plus 4. Do simplification, at the end you will get 1 over 56. This is gonna be my final answer. After substitution I got my new expression. If you look at here, u cubed minus 64, it's a kind of formula u cubed minus 4 cubed, because 64 equals to 4 cubed. So therefore u cubed minus 4 cubed equals to u minus 4 into u square plus 2u plus 4. It's a formula of a cubed minus b cubed. Just apply this a cubed minus b cubed formula here. I have u minus 4 in numerator and u minus 4 in denominator. So I'm gonna cancel out this u minus 4 with the u minus 4 in the denominator. And I will left only 1 over 2 times u square plus 2u plus 4. Since u approaches 4, now I'm gonna put directly u equals to 4 here. Just put u equals to 4 directly. So u square will be 4 square, 2u will be 2 times 4. When I do simplification here, I will get 1 over 56. So this is going to be my final answer for the limit of x plus 64 to the whole 1 over 3 minus 4 or 2x when x approaches 0 by using U-substitution method. And I hope you got it why we need U-substitution method, because sometimes the other procedures are failed to find the limit. As I tried direct substitution in the beginning, it got failed. Direct substitution was failed. That's why I used U-substitution method. This procedure plays its own role to find the limit of the function. Example number 2. Limit of x to the 1 over 6 minus 1 over x minus 1, where x approaches 1. Again, if I try direct substitution here, let me directly put x equals to 1. So I will get 1 to the 1 over 6 minus 1 over 1 minus 1. I'm just trying direct substitution method here, whether it fails or not here. So 1 to the 1 over 6 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is also 0 in the denominator. So I will get 0 over 0, which is indeterminate form. And I absolutely don't need indeterminate form. I must avoid of 0 in the denominator. I was just trying direct substitution method here. When I directly x equals to 1 here, because x approaches 1, just directly put x equals to 1. So 1 to the 1 over 6 is 1. No matter how big power you take of the 1, ultimately it equals to 1. So 1 to the 1 over 6 equals to 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then 1 in the denominator. 1 minus 1 is 0. Therefore, I got indeterminate form. So my direct substitution method has been failed here. I cannot use direct substitution method. Therefore, I'm going to use U-substitution method. Let me use U-substitution method here. In U-substitution method, take the first term in the numerator x to the 1 over 6 and let it equals to u. Just let x to the 1 over 6 equals to u. Take the power of 6 on both the sides, you will get x equals to u to the 6. Just take the power of 6. Again, when you look to the limit where x approaches 1 means that x equals to 1. If x equals to 1, then this term will be equals to 1. So u approaches 1 here. U approaches 1, not x approaches 1. I have my f of x, which is x to the 1 over 6 minus 1 over x minus 1, where x approaches 1. So I just picked this first term from the numerator and let it equals to u. So now x to the 1 over 6 equals to u. When I take the power of 6 on both the sides, just take the power of 6. So I'll get x to the 6 over 6. So 6 will cancel with the 6. I will left only with the x. And I will have 6 for the u. Just take the power of 6 on both the sides. You will get x equals to u to the 6. Now, since x approaches 1, it means that x equals to 1. If x equals to 1, just put 1 for the x here. So when I put 1 for the x, 1 to the 1 over 6 will be 1. So 1 equals to u, which means that u approaches 1 then. Let me substitute the values to have limit of u minus 1 over u to the 6 minus 1, where u approaches 1. Because I let x to the 1 over 6 equals to u, and x equals to u to the 6. U approaches 1 is my new limit part, not x approaches 1. After substitution process, x to the 1 over 6 equals to u. Because I just let x to the 1 over 6 equals to u, so I will put u instead of x to the 1 over 6. And x equals to u to the 6. Then x approaches 1. If x approaches 1, it means that x equals to 1. If x equals to 1, then this section will be 1 equals to u. Because if I put x equals to 1 here, 1 to the 1 over 6 is 1. 1 equals to u. Then it means that u approaches 1. So my new limit part will be u approaches 1, not x approaches 1, after doing substitution. Look to the denominator. Can I write it u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6? I have u to the 6 minus 1. So if I write it u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6, this is one thing. So no matter how big power you take for the 1, ultimately it equals to 1. So whether you write 1 to the 6 or only 1, this is one thing. But just for the simplification purpose, I do some sort of modification here. I modified the denominator from u to the 6 minus 1 to u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6. So can I write u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6 equals to u minus 1 to the whole cube into u plus 1 to the whole cube. Just write u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6 equals to u minus 1 to the whole cube times u plus 1 to the whole cube. When I simplify these two terms, ultimately I will get u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6. So whether you write u to the 6 minus 1 to the 6 or u minus 1 to the whole cube into u minus 1 to the whole cube. Now I have two formulas here. One is a minus b to the whole cube and the other is a plus b to the whole cube. So just apply a minus b to the whole cube formula here and a plus b to the whole cube formula here. I will have limit of u minus 1 or u minus 1 into u square plus u plus 1 into u plus 1 into u square minus u plus 1, where u approaches 1. Apply a minus b to the whole cube formula here. So u minus 1 to the whole cube equals to u minus 1 into u square plus u plus 1. Similarly, apply a plus b to the whole cube formula here, which equals to u plus b into u square minus u plus 1. I have u minus 1 in numerator and u minus 1 in denominator. Can I cancel out these two terms? Yes, I can cancel. Just cancel u minus 1 in numerator with the u minus 1 in denominator. And then directly put u equals to 1 for the rest. Just directly put u equals to 1 because u approaches 1, which equals to 1 over 1 square plus 1 into 1 plus 1 into 1 square minus 1 plus 1. I cancel out u minus 1 in numerator with the u minus 1 in denominator, but still I left u at 5 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So just directly put u equals to 1 here. U to the square will be 1 square, u 1, and then u 1, and then u square is 1 square, and then u equals to 1. Just put u equals to 1 for the u, not for here because these two have been cancelled out. Simplify the expression further, you will get 1 over 3 times 2 times 1, which equals to 1 over 6. Here is my final answer for the limit of x to the 1 over 6 minus 1 over x minus 1 when x approaches 1 after doing U-substitution method.